Hi dear friends, welcome to my channel. I haven't done a review in a long time, a fountain pen review, because I was busy with my work. But now we are going to look at a special, a very dear fountain pen to me from ASA Pen Company in India. This pen is called Gama Supreme from ASA, and it's fully made out of ebonite, having 3-in-1 filling system. The ASA Fountain Pen Company is one of the most well-known fountain pen company in India for its high-quality products, in this case fountain pens, and it started at the turn of 20th century, making fountain pens from parts imported from Great Britain. But after that they started making their own nibs and their own parts, assembling everything in house. This particular fountain pen, it's special because its size. How to describe it? This fountain pen is one of the largest fountain pens I've ever seen, not as much in girth as it in length. And when we compare this, for example, to Pelikan M1000, you see what I'm talking about. So it's about maybe 1.5 centimeter longer than the Pelikan M1000, and it's also much girthier. This fountain pen has a beautiful ebonite, brown ebonite, combined with black ebonite at the finial and the end of the barrel. The quality of manual finish here, it's very nice. The surface is very smooth and highly polished. The assembly is quite well done. There is no gaps between these jointed parts of ebonite here, very smooth. The clip is classic, no special decoration here. It's quite rigid, I would say, but it works. I very often carried it in the pocket of my pants and it was just fine. Then you have here at the end of the cap you have a steel ring. This is to protect the fountain pen from cracks and so on in case you drop it. And as I said, it has 3 types of filling system, so it is advertised. You can put in standard cartridges, you can also put start-at converter, but you can also use this fountain pen as an eyedropper. The only thing that I've tested so far is the eyedropper. And this fountain pen holds a huge capacity of ink. I put already 5 milliliter of ink in this barrel, and I still had the feeling that we can put a little bit more ink even. So with that said, I'm gonna open it a little bit. The threads between the cap and the rest of the pen are very tight. That is because it's manually made, and it opens with, let's say, 1.5 turns. Also on the barrel you have stamped in here the word Gama from the model of the pen, Gama Supreme. Once you open up the pen, you see that the threads here are quite tight and they are not very smooth. Actually, they are quite sharp, but because they are very tiny, I don't think there is a big issue. The section of the fountain pen is also very girthy, and I can only compare that to Pelikan M1000, let's say, and it's even girthier than that, as you can see. Despite its girthiness, let's say, this pen is surprisingly comfortable to hold in the hand, especially if you have large hands. I wouldn't recommend this pen for those that have tiny hands, let's say, but all for all those that have middle to very large hand sizes, this is the pen for you. Also, because of its girthiness, it makes it very comfortable, especially for the long writing sessions where your hand gets tired in general, because you have to grab tighter and tighter the very thin fountain pen section, and that makes it tired. For me, I hold this fountain pen or fountain pens in general slightly above the threads, so way back. In this case, however, somehow because of its considerable size, you see it lies very nice in my hand, even though it's obviously way oversized. I hold this pen, let's say, on the upper part of the section. The nib is a steel nib. It's not a number 6. I think it's slightly larger than number 6. I don't know who is exactly the manufacturer of this nib, but the design of the nib is quite simple. It only has an inscription, and there's no mark on it saying that this size is a fine, medium, or broad. However, when I've tried it, this is definitely a fine nib. Fine in the sense of, let's say, Asian fine, not pelican fine. And also, I'm very surprised how wet and juicy this nib is. To be honest, I wasn't expecting much in terms of quality from this fountain pen Gama Supreme from ASA Pens, but I must say it's now one of the best fountain pens I have in my collection, and also it seems that it's extremely reliable. As I said, the ink capacity is huge, one of the largest I've ever seen in a fountain pen. I already put 5 milliliters of ink here. The pen became heavy. I still have the impression that I could put maybe 1 more milliliter of ink here. The fountain pen ink that I have in this pen is from Pelikan, the Royal Blue, so nothing spectacular. I take this pen to the conferences, to wherever I know that I'm gonna write a lot and I need a huge ink capacity. You can even use it for graphics, for drawings, because the ink will simply last forever in this fountain pen. I'm also happy that this is I think the most affordable fountain pen made out of ebonite, made out by hand, and in such a good quality that you cannot beat the price. I think it's around $50 or $60 ordered from India. The company also gives you the option that they fine-tune the nib or that they try it for you to see if it works. So in case there's something, they will tune the nib for you or do the appropriate adjustments. Also, sometimes if you shake it, of course, while you have it in eyedropper mode, of course, drops of ink will come out, and therefore you have to watch out for it. Sometimes when this fountain pen is used in eyedropper mode, you have, let's say, burps, which are because of the heating of the air inside due to your holding or body temperature. The ink will come out, but not so often. I haven't seen this for this particular fountain pen that I ordered. I haven't seen this happening, maybe once, especially because I got my hands dirty as the ink went into the cap here. And I would not recommend taking this fountain pen in the airplane or traveling where you know that you're gonna hold it in the pocket of your shirt or pants and you're gonna run or gonna shake up the pen, because most definitely it's gonna drop some ink, and you wouldn't want that. I will use it in steady conditions where I don't shake it very much, where I don't run with it and so on, and then I think this is where this fountain pen in such condition will shine. And I'm gonna do also writing samples so you can convince yourself that this fountain pen is an excellent writer. Another thing is that also I left it uncapped for more than 5 weeks, more than 6 weeks I think. And once I started to write with it, it immediately starts writing, no hard starts, no skips, no nothing. It's a beautiful tuned fountain pen with an ebonite feed, excellent. And I'm gonna do next a writing sample. Also forgot to mention that from the company it comes in a pouch like this from ASA Pens, and all in all it's a good buy, and see you later. Next we are gonna do the writing sample. Here's again the size comparison between Pelikan M1000 and Gama Supreme. The pen, writing sample, and we start. So this is the Gama with 1M, Supreme, and this is a definitely Asian fine nib. It is a steel nib. It writes without hard starts, and without skips, as you can see. The nib is very wet for a fine nib. That is why I like it. Why I like it so much. You can even see the wetness on a page as I write. It's very wet and juicy, and to show you that, you will see that it's extremely wet, and the ink is Pelikan Royal Blue. It's one of the driest inks I know from Pelikan, and yet this fountain pen manages to be extremely wet for a fine nib, which is really a joy to write. It's not at all scratchy, but I can also not say that it is a let's say ultra smooth nib like you would have in Pelikan M1000, especially the broad nibs. It's not buttery smooth. It's also not scratchy. So on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the smoothest and 10 the scratchiest, this would be a 2 or 3. However, because this is a very nicely wet and juicy nib, it's very well lubricated by the ink flow. You can see here, and that makes it a spectacular writer. The ink capacity is huge. You can write forever with it without any issues. From the flexiness point of view, although there is some line variation here. It's a steel nib, quite rigid. It's, I would say, not recommended for a flexing at all. Reverse writer, reverse. It is also possible, but it's quite scratchy. That would be an ultra extra fine line, I guess. And in the end, I'm totally surprised about the performance of this fountain pen. Thank you for watching, and until next time. Bye bye.